This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. We all know that you get free shipping on millions of products with Amazon Prime, but you get a whole lot more. Like free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, plus a whole lot more. We've got links to all of these features and some of our favorites, plus a 30-day free trial, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. We were just talking about ISPs, now let's talk about the other side of the house and cable. The way cable works is most of the time they don't produce the content, right? And even if the same company does, it's a different relationship. One of the exceptions would be if your cable company has a news station, right? Spectrum News, for example. Most of the cable stations have something like that. Maybe they've got, local sports channels, things like that. But in general, they license the content from the likes of Comcast and, Paramount and Disney. This week, something interesting happened. We'll start at the top. Spectrum and Disney have been renegotiating their renewal for Disney channels on Spectrum. This happens regularly. And also what happens regularly is that the contracts don't get renewed in time and the stations disappear for a couple days. We see it happen at the end of a lot of contract negotiations. Disney, over the last couple of years, we've seen it with YouTube TV and Dish Network and now Spectrum. They have disappeared off of Spectrum. But something interesting happened this time that I haven't seen happen in the past. Normally, customers seem to get mad at the cable company for losing their channels. That's not what happened this time. Customers seem to have generally gotten mad at Disney, so much so that Cancel Disney Plus was trending on Twitter, or X, or whatever we're calling it now. Because they were saying that if Disney was going to demand this much money and hurt us this way, that we're going to hurt them that way by canceling Disney Plus. It's an interesting change of position that I think comes about almost entirely because of the weird relationship between consumers and media that has happened over the last couple of years, and the way we interact with it, right? There was the whole, Netflix created a business model. All the other companies wanted to get on board, even though Netflix's business model doesn't quite work the way they said it did. And the more companies who have gotten involved, cord cutting, you're not actually cutting a cord, but cord cutting has gotten as expensive as not at this point. And we now think of the streaming companies oftentimes first. Avram, you just said in the last segment that you dumped the cable side and went just internet side, right? So many of us.
Am I saving money? A
Probably
little
not.
bit. Not that much. A little bit.
Right.
I think I'm saving like $30 or $40. Well, no, I take it back. Okay, so I was paying, like, with all the fees, and the other people had it worse, I was paying something like $185 or $190 a month for my cable and internet, with a DVR, a couple of cable boxes, and not maybe like one premium channel. So now, and then I also, on top of that, was still spending money on streaming services like Disney Plus and Netflix. So when I cut my internet just by itself, for faster internet, I might add, went down to was just $50, and that's all I have to pay.
Okay.
But then my family wanted like a live TV service. So we got YouTube TV,
Sure.
and that was $60, but now it's like $70 because YouTube TV is effectively cable, right? It
Right.
pays licensing for all these different
Right.
channels,
Works the same.
except that
And in fact,
you know,
Disney had trouble with them in a contract negotiation, I think 2 years ago.
right. So if you take YouTube TV, which is like $70, and the cost of the internet, that's like $120. So I'm saving like $60 or $70 a month off of what I was paying
Mm-hmm.
because I before I switched, I had all these streaming services. So if you assume that you were going to have the streaming services anyway, then then having then getting rid of cable, I still saved money. It If I had my druthers, I might really, if it was just me and I didn't, you know, have wife and kids who want like to watch like the 11 o'clock news, then I would not have YouTube TV at all, um, and that would be fine. And then I would have, save that money. So, um, so anyway, what we were talking about Spectrum. So I think this is. I don't see why people would be. I mean, I understand why they're upset, but on the other hand, this seems to be commonplace with cable and with
But consumers always react. I've watched
right.
this many times. Consumers
I
always
mean,
react, but they
they're
always seem to go after the cable company, who, interestingly, is actually trying to save on carriage fees, which will keep the cable price down theoretically.
right.
But
I mean,
but
it's
still, in this case, they're going after Disney and threatening to cancel Disney Plus. It's fascinating.
I mean, to be fair, it's a PR battle, right? So if the
Yes.
cable company says we really don't want to raise, this is look, we were talking about fees before, right? And a fee is a way of trying to disclaim responsibility for what you're charging, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
oh, we'd really like to charge you only $50, but we're charging you $80 because all of these other things that we are forced to pay, right?
Right.
So the imagine if we lived in a country that had VAT tax, right? Like here in America, sales tax is not talk about disclosing a fee. Sales tax is not part of the price,
Mhm.
right? So you to know how much you need to pay, you got to figure out what your state and local sales tax is. But in England, what you see is what you pay because somewhere in there is the VAT, right? But the company has to kind of absorb it, so to speak, or include it in the price.
Right.
So anyway, to make a long story short, the I mean, yeah. So the cable company's going out there and saying we don't want to have to charge you more, but we have to charge you more because these mean um, companies want their carriage fees. To be fair, it really isn't a fair situation at all because the companies are really double dipping on the customers and the cable providers, right? Like they want you like, for example, one of the channels is channel. Well, here we have a channel 7, ABC, right? ABC is a broadcast channel. So
Mhm.
if you had an antenna, you could get ABC for free. Disney does not. Disney is perfectly happy to give ABC away for free to viewers,
Right.
but still more than but still wants to charge the cable companies and in effect cable subscribers
Mhm.
money to get it.
Yeah.
But the business model of ABC is to make money through selling advertising. So
Mhm.
they're 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 hurting in a way. They're hurting themselves because they're
Yeah.
going to lose advertising revenue. But I guess they figure, hey, we're only going to have a short disruption because Spectrum can't, like the cable company cannot get away with like not having ABC, right?
Sure.
I mean,
And
there's some channels maybe they could get away with not having, but they can't get away with not having like ABC.
sure. So they could probably get away with not having baby TV. which is one of the channels that's currently dark for a while. But what's interesting, you bring up ABC. ABC is wild because not all of them are gone.
Yeah, you said.
Chicago, LA, New York, San Fran, Raleigh, Durham, Houston, and Fresno are the only ones that are gone. Mine is perfectly functional. So I wonder if those are not affiliates. I wonder if those are directly owned by Disney.
You know, one thing though that is really unfair. Um, one thing that is really unfair is you, and people know this, right? Like Disney is one unit. So as a subscriber, maybe you only want ABC, because you maybe you don't really care about having Disney Junior, which is targeted toward little kids. Maybe you don't care
or the
about
ACC
having.
network.
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
Probably something football related because it's.
Or maybe you don't want. Maybe you don't want ESPN.
Sure.
It's another right. Disney owns them too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't like sports. But they're going to push all of those on you.
Yep.
Because they're all part of the same cable package, and Spectrum has to pay one price to get them all, as opposed to just saying like, hey, you know what, we're not gonna carry the baby network or whatever because we don't think anybody cares, so don't charge us for that one. They bundle it to force everybody to pay for it. Like here in New York, for example, if you have almost any cable package, you get Yankees Entertainment Network, Yankees Entertainment Station or something. Right? Is that what it is? Yankees Entertainment Station or whatever. So it's a channel that shows Yankee games that's owned by the Yankees. And they also show, I think, some other games in the off season, like Nets or something. But
Yankees Entertainment and Sports.
Okay, so Yankees Entertainment and Sports. So as someone who's a Yankee fan, when I had cable, I absolutely did watch it. But for anybody who's not a Yankee fan, they were accounting for something like at least $3 of everybody's bill. And you couldn't say no. So I think that's terrible. That's why people want to do cord cutting in the first place, is because they don't like all of this bundling where they have to pay for things that they don't watch.
Right.
So, it's, if you want to protest Disney, protest Disney because they're willing to withhold their services from Spectrum for not giving them the amount of money they want, but they think it's really wrong for writers and actors to withhold their services for not getting the amount of money that they want from Disney. So, right? They seem to understand it when it's them that's withholding a service for money. So, if you protest them because Secret Wars is absolutely terrible, but like, I'm not sure.
Abrams coming out swinging tonight.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that this is like the worst. Yes, they're all greedy, right? Every single one. Like, it's Disney, it's Fox, it's although now I'm not sure. Disney owns Fox, right? So is this included in that situation or not?
So Disney owns 20th Century Fox. They don't own Fox. So they don't own the Fox network.
Right, they don't own Fox News, but do they own?
They don't own Fox.
They don't own any of the type.
They own.
Fox. They own FX.
Yes. So, the ESPN collection, the college sports collection, Longhorn Network, FX, FX Movie Channel, FXX, Freeform, Nat Geo and its collection, the Disney branded things, and Baby TV. And then plus the weird collection of local affiliates.
So FX, yes, but Fox, no. Okay. Yeah. Well, right. But
Yeah,
so like
News
okay.
Corp. News Corp wanted to keep the Fox network. They had plans for it, and those plans have not materialized.
Right. So, right, people pay. I mean, people are might be upset that they're paying for Fox to get their regular Fox programming,
Mm-hmm.
but then they also get all of the. They also are paying for news channels they may not watch,
Sure.
like Fox Business and Fox News.
Sure.
So, yes, this is the essential problem with cable. If you're already still on cable, then you've signaled that you're okay with this type of hostage taking.
Sure. Sure.
I mean,
Fair
the
enough.
system is not much. The system is not much better with streaming, but you do have some choices.
Right.
The system gets better with streaming when you decide that there's some things that you're willing to live without. The
Right.
question is, what are you willing to live without?
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point it becomes a little bit more a la carte. Now, I have an actual a la carte cable subscription because I was going to cancel it, and they're like, "Hey, how about we give you this?" All right. But it's unusual. I think in my case it was literally the retention thing. But yeah, most people are getting hit for the whole collection of networks. Because I'll tell you, on that list I read, the only thing that's on my setup is FX.
Yeah.
I don't want or care about any of the other ones on this list, from top to bottom, including the local ABC affiliate, which isn't on the list, but I don't even care about that.
I mean, I could live without most
Yeah.
most of the stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's nice to watch Jeopardy once in a while, um, but so yeah, I mean, look, people, I get it that they're upset, but I mean, again, just listing the fees doesn't solve the problem.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's an interesting pairing of topics.
Cord cutting solves the problem. Like cord cutting solves the problem, but only if you cut it really deep. Only if you say, I'm not going to do all these things. Otherwise, what it is you have to have streaming now if you want. I mean, I don't know about you, but it seems to me that the most of the better shows are now streaming only.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you gotta go off of, like, it doesn't matter like anymore whether you like the idea of being on cable or not. You got to go to streaming if you want a lot of the shows that people really want to see.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. It's all very interesting. It's been a surprising amount of time at this point that it's been down. Way longer than I was expecting. I've been following it. In fact, I pulled up the Spectrum streaming app while we were talking just to see if it was still going on because I hadn't opened it today. And it is. The little note, the 5-slide animation video is still running on everything except ABC. So no telling how long it'll go on, but it has certainly been interesting to watch the reaction online this time. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.